And just once more, because poor man's clapper. We are rolling. We got the audio on. Everything is set. And here we are in our set. It feels so weird. Cheers. Cheers. Right. So this feels like a SNL skit, but... All right, so first things first, we've got to introduce what we're doing here. So Jim, what is this?
Well, welcome everyone to Midwest Reel. I'm ZenLyke.
And I'm Robert Tarzan, and we're here to talk about...
films.
Our short films, films that inspire us, some other things that have to do with the Midwest. I don't know.
Yep.
Right.
Favorite movies, how to make movies, all that sort of thing.
Wait, how come you have a camera right on you? What is this?
I have no idea. Why are you doing that?
That's for the close-ups over there, because you got the cool shirt on.
So.
All right, so this is our first podcast, but it sure isn't our first attempt at this. We've tried this a couple times, but we had some location and some audio issues. And
we are now in a more controlled atmosphere.
Midwest Reel is the name of our podcast here because we make short films.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk
under
about...
the name of ZenLyke Productions. He's Zen, I'm Like. Get it?
That works.
So we started our creative partnership in 2009.
Wow.
So it's been 15 years. We're getting old, dude.
I am in denial. I had no idea.
You are? You've been to Egypt?
I have been to Egypt.
Okay.
I've been in denial.
Okay.
I'm still in denial. That 15 years? No.
15 years, yeah. Wow. We did Fruit Loops in 2009. That was our first film together.
We've got to get out of here.
We sure do.
And I moved here to this area in 2008, and I remember going to do some networking. I went to a Business After 5 meeting, and I asked somebody who, and I wish I knew who it was. I asked somebody, I said, so if I wanted to get involved with the creative community, theater, film, TV, radio, anything like that, I said, who would I talk to around here? And this person looks around the room, and he goes, see that guy right over there? He goes, that's ZenLyke. Because you need to go talk to him. And I was like, interesting. And you had some shades on. I think you still had that stash.
Probably.
And so I walked over, and I don't know, you were talking to somebody, so I just waited patiently until you were finished, and then introduced myself, and voila!
And look at us.
Here we are 15 years later.
I'm sure you remember the context of this, but I was writing articles for the Janesville Messenger at the time. And I had just written an article about participating in the 48-hour film festival.
That's right.
Up in Madison. And I had never heard of this thing.
I had neither.
And if you haven't heard of this thing, it's literally over a weekend. It's a competition where Friday night you draw a genre out of a hat, and it'll say like buddy film or drama or music.
And everybody's there, all the
whatever.
teams.
All the teams are there. And so you're assigned a genre that you have to make a 7 or 8 minute film about, and you have to have a character that has a certain name, and they have a certain profession, and there's a line that every film has to include in there.
Please, I beg you, stop.
And a prop.
Somewhere, and a prop. And then you make the film, and you have to turn it in.
And they do that because that way they know that you didn't film this ahead of time, so
Right.
that those elements are in the film.
Right. So all of that starts, the clock starts ticking at 7 p.m. Friday, and you have to turn in your film by 7 p.m. Sunday. And so I had just participated in that for the first time. Our friend Stephen Pickering, who owns Drywater Productions. I had never met Stephen, and Stephen's wife called me Friday night. We're doing this thing. My dad said we should get you to act in it, and I'd never heard of it. And so I ended up devoting my whole weekend to shooting this film, and so I'd written an article in the Messenger in my column about the experience. And so you and I start talking at this Business After Hours, and you mentioned something about, I just read this thing in the paper about this 48-hour film festival, but you didn't know I had written it.
That's right.
And I said, oh, that was me. I wrote that.
That's so funny.
And so a year later, you and I are making a film together.
We decided to do it. And our first one was called Fruitless. Yes.
We shot part of it here, in fact.
That's right, we did.
We shot your son, Max, running around your driveway.
Every day.
And we still talk about that clip. Is he still
traumatized by it?
Put the poor kid in a wig. But
Oh yeah,
remember that?
That too.
There
Yeah,
was like a shot outside the garage door, and he's just sort of standing there. And
Yep.
yeah, that was a fun one, and we actually did really well in that.
yeah, we did. We got a couple of
We,
awards.
we
for
took
that.
best director, we took best short, and I thought there were some other things too. Writing, I believe.
I don't even remember. I'll have to look at where we have it posted on YouTube.
And we look really, we look, you look really good. We work really well together is what I was trying to say, because we'll do the writing. One of us will write something, the other will take a look at it, and then we go back and forth, and it's a good collaboration because it's not like there's any, I disagree with this. I think this would be better here, and it seems to flow really well. So that was a fun one.
Yeah, it always seems like when we're, writing something together, that's like, then we could do this, and then you'll go, oh yeah, and then we could do this,
And
it
it
just
at
kind
that-
of goes
absolutely.
back and forth.
Which led to then our next 48-hour film festival the next year, I believe it was. Was it the year after?
It was the next year.
Okay. And so for that one, we pulled the genre of
Film noir.
Film noir,
We did a film called Written Off.
which was basically, what would you say in like 2 sentences that was about?
So it was about a writer, kind of a Mickey Spillane type of writer that was played by me, in the shirt sleeves, rolled up sleeves, fedora,
Cigarette.
smoking a cigarette, sitting at a typewriter, like typing a story, and then
The
you're
old-fashioned
kind of-
typewriters.
Yep, one of those old clickety clack royal typewriters, and then you're seeing the story kind of play out. One of the things I remember about that film was that we used my nephew. My nephew was visiting from Minneapolis, and we used my nephew William
Holy
in
cow.
a small role as like a messenger bringing me a telegram.
That's right.
And we shot that part first because he immediately, after he shot the part here, got in his car and drove to O'Hare and boarded a plane for Poland.
Yeah, come in. Telegram, sir. Thanks, kid.
So he was in the air to Poland as we were still filming this. So it was like, boy, we better make sure that, all of his footage worked out well because we can't retake it.
No second.
He's gone.
I forgot about that. That's right.
Yeah.
And then we decided too to be, to be clever and sort of just we do pretty much everything. We keep this to a low crew. It's just the two of us usually, and so we shot it here, green screen. Before my green screen abilities were maybe a little bit better, but we shot it here in the basement. It's very simple because we wanted to have like a simple set where Jim's just on the typewriter. There's like a voiceover, but there's nothing behind him, just black room kind of a thing. And then the other characters would sort of like come in and out of the scene. And so, which led, of course, to some sound issues because I don't know why. Was the air conditioning on? Something was.
I don't know what happened. And we didn't hear it in the headphones, but when we went, and we were really feeling good about ourselves.
We
because
were.
We got this thing shot in like record time.
Yes.
And it was like, we've got all the time in the world
Right.
to edit this. We're not going to have any problems with the 48-hour deadline.
And then boom.
And then we sit down and, put it on, your editing software, and there's this terrible hiss.
Yep.
All
I think it was. Oh no, I remember now. It was the lights.
It was the lights.
Remember, because I had
It was the
different. It's
lights.
these nice
Yeah.
lights that we have nowadays. These LEDs, they work great. This was an older one that had the filament, I guess it was, and so there was this high pitch which we didn't hear, sort of like not a whistle, but some sort of sound. Oh,
Yeah,
that was
and
awful.
it was
Trying to
really bad in some places. And I remember that we were just, we were searching the internet. We were flipping through the owner's manual for Final Cut.
Right.
How do we isolate this and get rid of it? And it
so much easier
took
now.
a while. I mean, it took us
yeah.
a lot longer to do that than to shoot the footage. And most of it came out pretty well. I mean,
It did.
the audio's not perfect, but it's considerably better than it could have been. And then, some of it was covered by the music and everything.
For what we shot back then, it was the best that we could do, and it worked really well. looking back at it, of course, now you're like going, oh, like to redo that or whatever. But it worked. But then, so what was the outcome though? Because this is the funny part. So we finished this 48-hour ahead of time, and
well,